And now what I want to do is I want to read. Simple read, but I don't mean that in a bad way. TBR Cut is here. I'm having some seriously conflicting feelings about this book. I just broke my tripod. So unfortunately for you guys, you're going to have to deal with some shoddy angles for a little while until I can get another one. But hi, hello, how are you doing, my lovelies? We are in the midst of a heatwave here in the UK. If you are a fellow Ukensian experiencing this heatwave, I hope you're staying hydrated. I hope you are staying in the shade. If you are someone that usually works outside, I'm sorry. I hope you aren't overdoing it, overworking yourself. I hope you're being sensible. We go on, we thrive, we prosper, we keep going. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep going, we're going to keep thriving, and we're just going to do our best. It is currently like nearly 4 o'clock. And I'd spent the morning doing some internship work, and then the start of the afternoon I was just chilling, watched a couple of episodes of Pokemon, watched a few episodes of Spike's Family. Freaking love that anime so much. And now what I want to do is I want to read. If you follow me on Instagram, then you may have seen I did a TBR prompt jar picks my next read post, and the book that was chosen was Dalagut's Dream Department Store, and I am pretty close to finishing it. I am on page 191, which is chapter 8, so I'm coming to the end of this book. So honestly, I think instead of giving you my like current thoughts and feelings, because I'm so close to finishing it, I think I'm just going to finish it and then give you my final thoughts. And then I also just want to get straight into another book. I've been really enjoying kind of having these break books, like these in between books between bigger reads. It's been very much needed, especially knowing what kind of books I have on my TBR and what books I know I need to get to. But cozy fantasy is definitely where I'm at the minute. But I have thoughts and opinions and feelings about this, but I will save that until I've actually finished it. I am going, as you can see, to drink some more of my water, stay hydrated, please and thank you. We'll go from there. So that's what we're going to do. This heatwave is really frazzling me. And I also, right as the heatwave hit, I got my period. So I haven't been the happiest gal this past week, if I'm being honest. But we're coming to the end of the heatwave and the end of my period. Hopefully, the rest of this week will be better for me emotionally. And I'm going away next week as well. And it's meant to be cooler next week. So I just need to push through these last couple of days and we should be okay. But anyway, like I said, I basically want to finish this and move on to a new book. That's what we're going to do. I am getting more and more creative with where I film. One, because everywhere in this house is just hot. It is just hot. We are experiencing a heat wave in the UK, and I know people always take the mick out of Brits and our way of dealing with heat, but we're just not meant for it, okay? We're just not. But today is a lot better. It's not as hot as it was yesterday. But anyway, we are actually here to talk about the book I just finished, Dalagut Dream Department Store. The Dream You Ordered is sold out. I think my overall rating for this is going to be 3, maybe 3.25 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. It was a nice, simple read, but I don't mean that in a bad way. I feel like when it comes to Korean and Japanese fiction, specifically obviously the translation of the fiction, oh my gosh, words. The translation of it. I do feel like it comes across quite plain in the writing style. Now, I don't know if that is purely because of how the work's translated or if that's just how Korean and Japanese authors more tend to write. But I do need to say that the only translated fiction I've read that is Korean and Japanese is cozy fiction. So before the coffee gets cold, welcome to the Hyangnam-dong bookstore, bookshop. Is it the Full Moon Cafe? Something along those lines. So I very much tend to gravitate towards that kind of fiction in regards to my Korean and Japanese literature. So I cannot say whether all Japanese and Korean translated fiction is like that because I haven't read outside of that genre, and I really should expand on that, but this is just very much a safe zone for me, and I'm never really disappointed. I always kind of know what to expect from the writing style of these kind of books. I really love the simplicity of these types of books. I could definitely see this being like animated, being like a little mini animation series. I think it would translate really well to screen, especially with how this story is being about dreams, and the way dreams are approached in this book are kind of like films. And there's like dream awards, like we have film awards. So I really do think this would work really well on screen. But overall, I don't have anything like big to say about it because it like there was one bit at the end that did bring a like my eyes watered a little bit, I can't lie, but it wasn't like hard hitting, and I feel like sometimes with these books you expect to walk away with some sort of lesson learned, and there was definitely things that I think the author wanted to try and teach us as the reader when it comes to there was one chapter where I think the message was basically saying if you're not happy with your life, you know, it's okay, but you kind of have two choices you can do. You can either do something about it and try and change it for the better, or you can kind of go, this is my life, and just accept it as it is. And in doing that, you're likely to then be more positive and start actually appreciating the life that you do already have. So there are definitely elements of that in this book, but they're not as hard hitting or as prominent as I've read in other Korean translated and Japanese translated fictions. I must say, this is very unique. Like the story and the setting, I think I haven't read anything like it before, and it was a very refreshing read. And it was a really nice palette cleanser as well. I know this is a duology. I'm debating on whether or not I will pick up the next book. If I like, I'm not in any rush to. I'm not saying never. I'm just saying not anytime soon. You know, it's not on my top priority, need to go out and get it right now list. But 3.25, if this kind of book, you know, that cozy fantasy, Japanese, Korean translated fiction, you know, if you do enjoy that genre, you haven't picked this up yet, I do highly recommend it, especially if you're like Studio Ghibli fans as well. I think you would enjoy this too. And I do plan to keep this book because the cover art is beautiful. I just oh, I absolutely adore the cover art of this book. It's so beautiful. But now that I've read that, it is time to pick my next book. I have two in mind that I think I want to read. They are continuations of series that I'm currently in the middle of. And yes, they are fantasy. Are we surprised? No. No, we're not. No. So I should probably go take you to my TBR cart and show you what books I am actually talking about. You are balanced on my bed, and I'm hoping because I'm using a microphone, you can't hear the screaming kids outside. If for some reason the microphone picks it up, I apologise. I promise they're screaming with fun. They're playing in the garden. TBR cart is here, and the two books that I'm debating between sunglasses on the top. Let's just move those out of the way. Two books I am thinking about are these two right here. So we have got Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This is the final book in the Powerless series. excluding the second novella, Fearful. I'm pretty sure you read that after you read this. But yeah, so we have Fearless. And then we also have Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas, the second book in the Throne of Glass series. I am torn between these because I feel like if I reading Fearless would be a good shout, because then I'll be completing a series, and I do really want to complete the series. I just want to see where it wraps up. However, I'm tempted to I guess that could be this video. I was gonna say I'm tempted to do like its own video because okay, with this book, I have some thoughts and feelings that I really want to discuss before kind of getting into this. So, okay, I'm just gonna have to say how it is. So, when I first read Powerless, I was not aware of the issues surrounding it. I read it, and I had read Reckless and Powerful, the novella. I read all those three before becoming aware of the plagiarism allegations surrounding Powerless specifically. And that has very much been in my mind recently because Victoria Aveyard is doing a lot of press for her newest released Tempest, which I think is coming out this year, which I am so excited about. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean inspired. Oh, okay, I'm so excited. Part of me feels guilty that I was very much reading and in the booktube community during the Red Queen era, and I don't know why, because I even remember being aware of that series when it was first released. I don't know why I never picked it up, because it's definitely something I know I would have loved, but I think it kind of, when the Red Queen series came out, that's annoyingly when I was kind of leaving my reading phase. Like, I was going into my very, very, very long like reading slump. I didn't pick up a book really for years. And I think annoyingly, the Red Queen series kind of started to gain traction as I was getting out of reading. So I never picked up the series, but I was aware of it. It was on my radar. Anyways, fast forward. I'm back into my reading era. I'm back into my fantasy and reading my books. And lo and behold, I am seeing this series that has completely taken BookTube by storm. Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Everybody was rating it 5 stars. They were like absolutely loving it. And I wanted in. I wanted to know what the hype was about. So I read it, and I remember hearing that Lauren Roberts was inspired by The Hunger Games and Red Queen for Powerless. And I thought, great, I loved The Hunger Games when I read them years and years ago. And Red Queen, I heard good things about it. So I was very, very excited to read Powerless and start the series. So I just wasn't quite aware how much inspiration Lauren Roberts took. And I think because of Victoria Aveyard's new book being released, and she as an author is getting a lot of hype at the minute, the controversy surrounding Powerless and the Red Queen series has resurfaced. I know about a year ago, and to be fair, I think when Powerless first came out, but like a year ago, I remember it really coming to light and coming to the forefront of BookTube. And then the controversy kind of died a death a little bit, and now I'm finding that on my algorithms on Bookstagram and BookTube, it's starting to kind of resurgence again. And I didn't want to continue this series until I had some more information around the controversy. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I can't change the past. I can't go back in time and read Red Queen when it first came out and not read Powerless, and I can't change the past. I do kind of have this guilt around the fact that I don't want it to come across as if I'm supporting plagiarism, because I am not. I do not support plagiarism in the slightest. But I think what I'm curious about is, now that I've read not just Powerless, but most of the series, I think what I would like to do is finish the series and then read Red Queen and do my own comparison. Obviously, I'm aware that Red Queen was published before Powerless, so I'm obviously not going to go in and think Red Queen is the copycat, because that's obviously not the case. But I think I'm also curious to see, as the series goes on, because there are more books in the Red Queen series than in the Powerless series, I think. I kind of want to see if Lauren Roberts was able to find her own feet, to find her own voice with the series and her characters and her world, and create her own story. I kind of want to give her the chance to prove that. So I think what I want to do is finish the Powerless series and then read the Red Queen series. And obviously, I'm going to be very aware of the fact that Red Queen and Powerless is essentially the same book. But I kind of want to see if the rest of the series is as closely matched. Like I said, I'm hoping Lauren Roberts has found her own voice and her own feet, but only time will tell. I loved her novella Powerful. I loved it. I mean, I have a whole reading vlog of reading Reckless and Powerful, so you should, if you're interested to go check that out, you can. But I loved it. It brought me to tears. I'm really, really hoping that that is Lauren Roberts and that is her voice, because I now know that that character is, again, basically a character from the Red Queen series. But I think I've kind of gone round in circles a little bit. I think what I'm trying to say is, I want to read Fearless, and I want to give Lauren Roberts a chance to prove that she can write her own books and her own stories. I really want her to prove it to me. And then I fully intend to read the Red Queen series and essentially support Victoria Aveyard through that lens. And I definitely want to, like, I really want to read some of her work. I haven't read any Victoria Aveyard, and I really, really want to pick up some of her work. So I know she's got, is it the Realmbreaker series? And then obviously her new pirate themed Pirates of the Caribbean inspired series coming out this year. So this is why this is option 1. Option 2, Crown of Midnight. Oh, Crown of Midnight, Sarah J. Maas, second book in Throne of Glass. I know that from what I'm hearing, like, the first 2 books and then the novellas is like its own kind of trilogy in a sense, because then from book 3, I hear it takes a turn. So I want to know. And Bestie Shah has, if I remember, she rated this 5 stars, I think. I think she rated it 5 stars. She loved this book, and I trust her judgment and her reviews with my whole heart. I don't know what to do. Okay, honestly, I think I'm leaning towards Fearless. Now that I've spoken about it, I want to give it a chance. I want to see what it's like. Okay, yeah. I think we're going with Fearless. We're doing it. We're going with Fearless. Yeah, we're doing it. We've decided. Crown of Midnight, you will be read very soon. Just not yet. Just not yet. We're going to go with Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I would be curious to hear your thoughts and opinions surrounding the whole controversy. I mean, is there anybody out there that also feels guilty like me, that feels like I had the chance to kind of support Victoria Aveyard and her work, but I didn't at the time, and I now feel bad, even though I had no knowledge of the controversy when I picked up Powerless and read it. I had no knowledge of it. I don't know, I still feel guilty. Like I said, can't change the past. It is what it is. Let's just crack on and give Lauren Roberts a chance. I highly recommend kind of doing your own research into it. I have been listening to like podcast episodes and watching like YouTube videos about it all just so I can try and form my own opinion. But at the end of the day, I think the best way to form your own opinion is to read the material and to be able to give my own, I think, honest and fair opinion. I need to read all the material, but I think in this case, it's mostly the first books in the series. So I've read Powerless. I now need to read Red Queen. But I will. I just need to get my hands on it first. But I am on a bit of a book buying ban. And in this case, I do want to support the author, so I would rather buy the book than get it secondhand. I'm pretty sure if you rent books from the library, the author still gets like commission or something. I don't know how it works. I'm sure that's the case with library books. Like even like authors still get some sort of payment or something if you rent it from the library. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm not 100% sure, but basically, I want to support Victoria Aveyard, so I would rather like buy her book than like get it secondhand or anything like that. So I hope I've articulated my thoughts and feelings well enough when it comes to that. I am now going to start Fearless. Okay, guys, I just need to talk about how I am feeling about my current read, which, as you know, is Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I am on page 145, which is chapter 20. I'm having some seriously conflicting feelings about this book because I think if I wasn't aware of the controversy surrounding this book and this author, I actually think I would be enjoying it a lot more than I am. I genuinely like her writing style. I think it flows quite well and it's easy to digest. I do think this book has a good backbone to it. I remember seeing one of the criticisms about this book is our main MMC Kai is basically just pining after Paden for the whole book, and it gets very repetitive and very boring, and I can see that. I'm not even halfway and I can see that already, and it is getting a little bit like, we get it, you're in a pretty rubbish situation. I don't want to say spoilers just in case you want to read it, but this is obviously a third in a series. And basically, for whatever reason, our two main characters can't be together. This guy, he's meant to be like the enforcer, the like baddest, most brutal guy in the kingdom. And like, he's just feeling a little bit naff in this book so far. If anything, I am much more intrigued in his brother Kit And again, I don't want to say too much just in case anybody does want to read this series. But if anything, yeah, I would like to see more of Kit. I don't know if we do as the book goes on, obviously. And Kit is he is a prevalent character in the book, but when it comes to POVs, we're mostly focused on Paden and Kai. And Kai's POV is just boring because it is just the same thing over and over again. Like, I'd be on my knees for her. Like, I would go to the ends of the earth for her, but I can't have her. And I'm like, bro, we get it. And if it's gonna be like that for this whole book, then but then going over to kind of Paden's point of view and Paden's storyline, I am genuinely finding that interesting, and I do want to see where it goes and what happens. But the controversy with this book and Lauren Roberts, it has affected my experience reading this book. Like, because I have a reading vlog of me reading Reckless and Powerful, and I loved those books. I loved them so much. I loved them more than Powerless, the original first book in the series. So I didn't have this tainted view on the series and on the author. However, now that I've done like a little bit of research into it and the controversy has come to light to me, it has now had an effect on my experience of this book, and not in a good way, which is a shame because I do think I would be really enjoying this book. I'm worried that this is going to put me into a reading slump, which is not what I want. It's taking me a hot minute to get through this book, and I just know in a different circumstance that wouldn't be the case. I feel like I would have finished this book by now. I think I'm going to soft DNF it. I don't think I have it in me just yet to hard DNF. I guess I'm going to soft DNF it for now, and if I don't pick it back up, then that, speaks for itself. But I just don't want this to put me into a reading slump. That's what I'm mostly worried about. We're going to soft DNF that for now, and we're going to pick up something else. Now, I don't know. I don't know what I want to read. I've been looking at my TBR cart. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and this isn't the first time I've heard this, but I've heard Frida McFadden is a really good, like, slumpy book. Like, if you're in a reading slump, pick up a Frida McFadden and she'll get you out of it. I do have one Frida McFadden, but like, thrillers aren't really my thing. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I need something a little different to kind of get me back into the swing of things. Hang on, let me quickly find it. Let's just bring you over, should we? Let's just do that. The angle is not great, but we're just going to bring you over. Okay, I think I need to find it now. Okay, yeah, I found it. So this is the Frida McFadden book that I have, The Locked Door, and I remember reading the back of it, and this one in particular stood out to me compared to the other Frida McFaddens that were in the shop. So it says, when 11-year-old Nora Davis was up in her bedroom doing homework, she had no idea her father was killing women in the basement until the day the police arrived at their front door. Decades later, Nora's father is spending his life behind bars, and Nora is a successful surgeon with a quiet, solitary existence. Nobody knows about her past, and she'll do anything to keep it that way. Then one of her young female patients is murdered, killed in the same unique and horrific manner that her father used to kill his victims. Somebody knows who Nora is. Somebody wants her to take the fall for this unthinkable crime, but she's not like her father. The police can't pin anything on her as long as they don't look in her basement. See, that really intrigued me. It says, from New York Times bestselling author Frida McFadden comes a riveting psychological thriller about guilt, secrets, and whether it's possible to outrun what's in our blood. Maybe I'm going to go for it because it's not a big book. Usually these are 310 pages, and I have heard that Frida McFadden, you can just whiz through her books. You know what, we're going to give it a go. We're going to do it. We're going to give it a go. It's been sat on my TBR cart for a little while. We're just going to give it a go. Worst comes to worst, if I don't like it, I just stop reading it and we try something else. It's a little bit better. Excuse the fringe. I did a boo-boo when drying it and it hasn't dried the way I wanted it to, but that's not why we're here. So I read The Locked Door by Freida McFadden in under 24 hours. I can see why people say she is who to reach for if you're in a reading slump. Now, like I said, this was my first Freida McFadden. I'd never read a Freida McFadden before. She's obviously most well known for her book The Housemaid, which has now been turned into a movie. I've heard mixed things about that series as a whole. But this book, I have not heard anybody talk about this book by Freida McFadden. I've heard people talk about The Co-Worker, Never Lie. It's one called like The Teacher as well, or something. I don't know. And then obviously the Housemaid series. I have not heard anybody speak about this book, and I don't know why. Again, I know Freida McFadden is a little bit hit and miss. Some people really love her work, some people don't as much. They say they can the plot twists are a bit boring, or they can kind of let you down a little bit. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this book. I was guessing throughout the whole thing, and I was so certain I had it sussed out. And then when the plot twist was revealed, I was like, oh. And it was a little bit like, oh, okay, I see that now, like I get it. I think some people, especially if you read a lot of thrillers and it's your kind of thing, I do think it's something you would probably figure out maybe, but I'm not a thriller reader. It's not my genre, it's not my thing. So I wasn't really digging. I wasn't trying to pick up clues. I was very much kind of going along the ride and going down the route that Freida McFadden was taking me. I was going very back and forth between who I thought was the perpetrator. I think she did a really good job at making me question our protagonist's reliability as well, because this is dual timelines. So we flip between the present day and then 26 years prior to the present day. And I think she did a really good job at making me question our main character and whether or not we could trust her, because her as a child compared to who she is as an adult, alarm bells were going off. Do you know what I mean? So I think she did a really, really good job at that, alongside unraveling this plot of patients of our main character is starting to turn up dead the same way that her father was killing them. And it's very obvious that she is being framed or trying to be framed. But throughout the whole thing, you are genuinely questioning if she did it or not. I really enjoyed this. I think this was exactly what I needed. And I do very much agree with the sentiment of Freida McFadden's a great reading slump author. I really hope she takes that as a compliment, because I certainly would, you know. So I hope that she does. I am definitely intrigued to pick up some more of her work. But like I say, thriller books, even though I really enjoy them, and this isn't the first thriller book I've read, I have read a couple in the past, I couldn't be a thriller exclusive reader. I do need to take breaks. I'm a very sensitive soul, okay? So even, I guess, more, I was gonna say light-hearted thrillers, that's really not, less intense thrillers. I don't know, I feel like there are thrillers out there that are more intense and high stakes than this. High stakes, we're literally talking about a serial. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I feel like avid thriller readers probably kind of look at Freida McFadden as more of like a gentle thriller. That's the impression I get anyways. However, for me, this is my comfort zone. I think this is the kind of thriller that I'm comfortable with, that I'm happy with. I don't think I could go much darker than this. The thrillers that I've read in the past have also been young adult thrillers, and I really enjoyed those. But again, after reading them, I need to take a break. So I probably won't be picking up another Freida McFadden or a thriller anytime soon. But this definitely reminded me why thrillers are so great, especially if they're done well. So if you have any thriller recommendations, please let me know down below. I mean, one of my favourite books of all times is Where the Crawdads Sing, and that has a thriller element to it. So I definitely do enjoy the genre. I need intervals between them for sure. But yeah, really enjoyed this. If you haven't picked it up, I would highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Freida McFadden and you haven't picked it up. I would highly recommend reading The Locked Door. So now I actually want to show you some fun bookish merch that I recently picked up. This is not the first time I'm mentioning this store. Any bookish merch that you see me wearing has come from this store. It is New Chapters. I found them on Instagram. She is a single, independently ran business. I first initially found her because I think she followed me on Instagram, and then I realized she was not only doing bookish merch, she was also doing kind of neurodivergent representation stuff as well. I don't know if she still does do that, but if you ever see me wearing my like overwhelmed and overstimulated t-shirt, it's from her. And look, I'm going to be honest, this purchase was kind of motivated by the whole Hot Girls Read controversy drama that had been happening recently. I'm gonna have to, like, I'm admitting it, okay? I found that extremely entertaining. And part of me wanted to kind of, I don't know, I am very much on the side of I don't really understand why she did what she did. But I'm not here to talk about that drama. There are loads of videos. If you're interested, you can go check out. But I knew I wanted to support a small business and get myself a Hot Girls Read merch of some kind. Now, New Chapters is UK exclusive, but obviously there are probably loads of small businesses internationally that you can go and support. But I did get two things. So obviously, as we're talking about Hot Girls Read, I got myself her Hot Girls Read sweatshirt. This colorway as well. I don't know if you can really pick it up that brilliantly on camera, but it's this gorgeous blue and hot pink with some baby pink stars in there as well. I just think this color combination is absolutely gorgeous. I got this in a large. Everything I get from her, I get in large. I can't wait to wear this. And her package, the way she like packages it is always so lovely and neat. She always puts in a little kind of something as well. So with this order, I got a little bookmark, which was really sweet of her. So we've got my Hot Girls Read sweatshirt. And then I saw this t-shirt and I was just like, I need that in my life. I got it in baby pink with black writing, again in a large. And it says, lifetime member, introverted bookworm club. Again, I don't know if you can really pick it up on the camera, but it's this really lovely baby pink, black writing with some daisies. Yeah, love, 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 love. We'll be wearing these a lot. A lot. So you'll definitely be seeing those in future videos. Anyways, I actually think I'm just going to wrap up the reading vlog here because I don't want this to be too long. I haven't picked out my next book to read just yet, so maybe we can do that together in the next vlog. I'm not too sure, but I really hope you are reading a book that is giving you 5-star feels. I hope you are enjoying the summer if you're Northern Hemisphere. Southern Hemisphere besties, I hope you're having a lovely winter and you are resting and looking after yourself. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Bye!